For appropriately screened patients, hormone replacement therapy is incredibly safe. Now, I do start with appropriately screened patients. There are certain health problems, certain conditions, and even certain ages in which hormone replacement therapy has significant risk. We won't prescribe hormone replacement therapy for you if you're in one of those categories. And so part of the questionnaire that we ask you is designed to assess those risk factors. And if you have those risk factors, we don't offer you medication. The most important thing is to do this safely. That's our absolute top priority, is to keep you healthy and to keep you safe. And we won't write a prescription if we think it's not safe or if you have a risk factor that would make hormone replacement therapy unsafe. And so if you sort of survive the questionnaire and get to the end, we've weeded out the health problems that would make you not a candidate for hormone replacement therapy. That's the starting point, is we screen you carefully, and we know in carefully screened patients, hormone replacement therapy is very safe. Let's talk about the two big things that people worry about with hormone replacement therapy. The first is cardiovascular risks. Is this going to make me have a heart attack? Is this going to cause heart disease? Is this going to give me a stroke? In poorly screened patients, yes, those risks can exist. In carefully screened patients, actually the opposite is true. Hormone replacement therapy in the correctly screened patient decreases the risk of cardiovascular disease. And so one of the big things is age of 60. So if you start hormone replacement therapy before you turn 60, your risk of cardiovascular disease is actually less than women that have never taken hormone replacement therapy at all. And so it increases your life expectancy because it decreases your risk of heart attack, stroke, other cardiovascular problems, which, cardiovascular issues is the number one cause of death for women down the line. And so if we can reduce that risk, then we can increase your life expectancy. If you get to the point where we're offering you medication, that means that your cardiovascular risks are low enough that this is actually going to improve those things. The second risk that people worry about is cancer, and particularly breast cancer, but really cancers in general. People worry that hormone replacement therapy is going to increase their risk of cancer. And for the most part, that's not true. Now, there is some nuance to that. So there are some studies, and honestly, most of the studies suggest that there may be a slight increased risk of breast cancer for women on combined hormone replacement therapy. They're taking estrogen and progesterone. The interesting thing is those same studies show that there's no increased risk for women that are on estrogen alone. And so those risks are small, they're teeny. For women on estrogen and progesterone, there is a slight increased risk of breast cancer. On the other hand, there's likely a decreased risk of uterine cancer and colon cancer and other cancers as well. And so it balances out. And again, if you look at appropriately screened patients, your life expectancy is going to be longer on hormone replacement therapy than off hormone replacement therapy. So women that take hormone replacement therapy before 60 on average live longer than women that were never on it. I mean, ultimately, we all have to die of something, but the idea is to put that off as long as possible and to live as healthy as possible as we can. And that's the idea of hormone replacement therapy. It increases your quality of life. It takes away some of these symptoms that are really messing with you and making, life not so much fun. And we can get rid of that, make your life better and also healthier, so that you live longer and a healthier life. And that's really what hormone replacement therapy. So in the big picture, women that are on hormone replacement therapy are going to do better in both quality of life and longevity than women that never take it. So you can always pick out a little thing and say, oh, there's an increased risk here, but it's balanced out by lower risk there. So overall, hormone replacement therapy, again, in appropriately screened patients, is incredibly safe. So why do you read all these things on the internet, all these scary things about how hormone replacement therapy is so dangerous and is going to cause a problem? And it's actually got kind of an interesting history. So back when I first got out of residency, we were providing hormone replacement therapy to pretty much everybody. We thought it was like a vitamin. Everybody should take it. There was no risk and you'll live better and happier life. And it turned out that's not really true. You have to be careful who you provide hormone replacement therapy, and you have to stratify that risk. You have to assess the risk and make sure that you're doing it in a safe manner. And so there was a big study that came out called the Women's Health Initiative study that sort of turned the world upside down when it came out. Unfortunately, it made big headlines, and the newspaper headlines aren't always medically or scientifically accurate. And so it scared everybody to death that, oh my gosh, hormone replacement therapy is going to cause breast cancer, it's going to make you die, it's going to give you a stroke. The problem with that study is that they were giving hormone replacement therapy to women that weren't good candidates for it. I mean, they were giving it to 79-year-olds. Remember, there's that 60-year-old cutoff to start hormone replacement therapy. But in this study, you could be 79 and they would start you on HRT. And so again, if you don't screen patients appropriately, yeah, you can cause problems. But if you're careful with it and you screen patients appropriately for their risks, those risks are small and they balance out so that you end up being healthier on the hormone replacement therapy than off of it. So again, in general, for women that are screened appropriately, it's a very, very safe medication and can make a big difference in how you feel and in your quality of life. So don't lose the opportunity to feel better and perform better and do better because you're afraid of this stuff you read on the internet that for your individual situation may not be true. One of the interesting things that people misunderstand is the family history of breast cancer. Now, if you have a personal history of breast cancer, hormone replacement therapy is probably not the right option for you. In fact, I won't prescribe it for you because I think it's too risky. A family history of breast cancer, that's not the case. And so there's several large studies that showed that hormone replacement therapy was very safe for women even that had a very strong family history of breast cancer. So a family history of breast cancer is not a reason to not take hormone replacement therapy. It's very safe to take that if you have a family history of breast cancer. If you have a personal history of breast cancer, that's different, and we should really avoid hormone replacement therapy in that situation.